Hey, we're here for our fourth Golden Eagle Insider over Zoom, this time with head men's golf coach Brad Heppner, also joined by Hunter Plant. Brad, how's it been going?
It's going well. We're staying home, staying safe, and hopefully that's good. So, yeah.
Absolutely. What have you been up to during this last 3 months or so during COVID-19? I'm guessing you've been out to the Minocqua, to the golf course, or maybe somewhere else, but that's one of the few activities you can get out and do right now. But yeah, what all have you been up to?
Well, I still have my real job, which I call it. So I'm an accountant for the Northwest Research and Outreach Center. So that keeps me busy. I'm putting in, full days there. Yeah, and then doing calling recruits and trying to keep up with those guys. Can't go out and watch them play, which is kind of sad. There's been some high school tournaments going on, but so just watching. And yeah, I've played a little bit of golf. I'm not sure what I'm playing these days is called golf, but I get out to the golf course. All three of my boys have been home, so it's been kind of fun. We get out there and play. Yeah, but it's been really busy out at Minocqua since it's about the only thing people can do is play golf. So
yeah,
you got to make sure.
That's what I had heard from, because I'm good friends with Jess and Travis Ross, and I've heard they've been very busy. So
it's been crazy out there. If you don't get a tee time, you're not going to get on at this time. I mean, usually you could go out at 7, 8 o'clock at night and get a quick 9 holes in, and it's tough out there. But I mean, that's a good thing for golf, good thing for them, and the golf course is in great shape. So so that's fun.
That's awesome.
So, Brad, obviously kind of this COVID-19 kind of swept up right in the midst of our season. I think we were ready to go to Arizona, or we're in Arizona, one of the two. But, it's just kind of a crazy time. But how have you kind of been keeping in touch with the team? And I'm guessing like you said, that's the only thing they can do is pretty much golf. So just how have you been keeping in touch with the guys and making sure that they're ready for the fall and spring seasons next year?
Well, it was we just barely got home from Arizona, and then we found out the season was going to be canceled. So we've done 1 or 2 Zoom meetings with the whole group. I have a group text with them. We were going back and forth on that somewhat. They kind of like to leave the coach off of their group text, but once in a while I'll get one going, and then. And then I have done personal telephone calls with each one of them. I'm just trying to make sure that they're good for next fall, make sure they're registered for classes. I'm keeping in touch with them that way, and making sure that, how they came through classes in the spring was another issue. But I've been talking to them. We talk quite a bit, actually.
Brad, just kind of give us, the fans, kind of a rundown of how you told the guys kind of what happened, canceling of the COVID-19, because I know Travis kind of took a cautious approach. Travis Owen, it was tough for him because they were getting ready to go down to Florida. But what was kind of the approach that you took to tell the guys, hey, look, this is it, we're done, and then get ready for next year? So what was that approach like for you?
Well, they all probably knew before I did. They're hearing everything. But I did get them. I got them all together. We talked about it, and obviously it was hard. But the good thing is we did get our spring trip in, which was not a lot of the guys got those spring trips in. We basically had 3 events left, so which was 6 rounds of golf, maybe 7 that we could have played. So it's not. I don't think it was as big a deal. I mean, it was a big deal, but. And the good thing is I didn't have a senior on my team. So everybody's coming back no matter what. They even, I know that the NCAA gave the seniors another year. But for us, it was hard. And the guys took it well. And they understood, once they figured it out, they understood that, we're trying to keep everybody safe from this. And but yeah, we did a group meeting, and we told them, and they were good about it. So.
And it obviously helped that you guys had a fall season as well. So it's not like your entire season was canceled. You just, like you said, had maybe 6-7 rounds that you weren't able to do. So that's a little bit of a silver lining, as they got their entire fall season.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it too. We got the fall season in, which was 5 events, and we got 1 in the spring. So we got 6 events in, and so we only had 1 more event plus the pre-conference and a conference. So it would have been fun to see where we would have stacked up in our conference with the way the guys were starting to really play golf.
Yeah, because you guys had a pretty good, pretty successful outing down in Arizona, and I know some of the guys are feeling really good about where they were after obviously getting to spend their first full winter using that golf performance facility. I know quite a few of them were feeling pretty good about what they were coming into.
And Brad, I knew you were excited as well, because you'd come into our office and just talk about how excited you were. So that had to be kind of a bummer for you too, not only the guys but for you too, because you were really excited after that Arizona trip.
Absolutely, we shot some of our personal bests, in the spring there coming up. And that doesn't happen for us because of the situation we had before. But coming out of that golf performance room, that we were ready to go. We had a little hiccup on our second round there, but I feel if we wouldn't have, had some bad day, we would have been at the top of that invite and would have been pushing people. And I think, I think we're a team that can be reckoned with come this fall with the guys we have returning. I'm really excited about that, and I'm really excited about the 2 guys we have coming in. Those guys have worked hard at their golf games.
That's good.
Brad, just kind of take us through. You've been involved in this Minnesota Crookston men's golf program in some way, shape, or form for quite some time. Not too shy of 20 years, but just how was it that you first got involved in helping out as an assistant coach? And obviously now you've been the head coach for the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think we started the program in 2000.
Yep.
So it'll be 20 years now. So, Jason Tanquist got the head job when it first started, and he just approached me and asked if I wanted to be his assistant coach, and that's how it all began. I said yeah, and it's been a blast. I've enjoyed most all of it, actually. It's been fun. Being around the guys, being around the trips, it's been fun.
Brad, obviously you touched on this in the last question, actually, but what's your favorite thing about being a men's golf coach? Obviously 2000, we started the men's golf program, and then really the only conference championship that's hanging in Lee Soccer Gymnasium. Lee Soccer Gymnasium is a men's golf one. So, you were part of some history there, but what are some of the favorite memories that you have as an assistant coach, and now over the last few years as being the head man of the Minnesota?
Well, the favorite thing, I've got a few favorite things about being involved in the golf program, and I think number one, it's the personal relationships you make with all your players. I think they're the guys that make it fun. They come to work every day, and it's the road trips are a blast. I really. Every time we have one, I still get excited about leaving town and seeing what we can do on the golf course. Some of my favorite memories. One, I think the trip to Bolivar, Missouri, with for the Super Regionals at Silo Ridge. What a great experience that was. The golf was good. There's some good players out there. We learned that early. But we spent about 2 hours at the hotel in the hallway. It was tornado season. So we sat in the hallway for a couple hours waiting for the tornadoes to pass. When we found out a town just 10 miles from where we were staying got totally wiped out. As we drove home, we saw just devastation all over the place. So we were pretty lucky. But that's another. It's just the road trips are something different every time. I think the Vegas trip we had 2 years ago, my first year as a head coach, what an experience that was. We were there for a week, but that getting our flights canceled on the way home because of the storm that was going on here trying to rearrange that. I mean, it's just things like that. They're just every time you go, you can find something else that's either going to go wrong or go right. But those are the memories that being with the guys, getting on the road, and the stories that those guys can tell. It's unbelievable.
Brad, take us through that NSIC championship team. Were we kind of expected to win the conference tournament, or what was kind of the thoughts? Like, what is that like? It's the only conference championship in school, really in school history and in any sport. So what was that kind of like to win the NSIC, one of the perennial powers in really a lot of sports?
Yeah, I remember it was at Becker, Pebble Creek, I think is the name of the golf course there, and I think it got shortened by 9 holes. I think I wasn't along actually on that trip, but no, we weren't expected to win that conference. But Brandon Schwartz won the whole thing, and it was a 27-hole event, range shortened, and the guys just played well with Schwartzy doing a great job winning that first conference tournament for him. So
that
was cool.
You touched on the couple incoming guys that we have, recruits. Just how excited are you to bring those guys in and just obviously, get those guys their careers started? I know you're excited about. Right, it's two incoming guys you got coming, and both from Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
we got Bodie Guza coming from Chaska, powerhouse in AAA golf there. You make their golf team in Chaska, you're a pretty good player. In fact, Jack Johnson's going to NDSU. Bodie's coming here, so they're really good buddies. In fact, I got to see them both play at the MGA Junior Boys last year. They actually played in the same group, and I was able to walk along. And the Gophers coach was there watching Jack. He's a good player, but he ended up going to NDSU. And Bodie, I talked to him after the round, and he was excited about and me actually talking to him, and then committing here. And then Josh Hebrink from Elk River finished 18th at the state tournament, AAA state tournament last year. So he's a good player. He's kind of there's some other guys that were playing in front of him at Elk River, but he's when I watched him play, I'm like, I got to get this kid. And he's a good player. And anytime you can finish in the top 20 at AAA state, you can play golf. So every time I talk to those guys, I talk to them once in a while, and they're just so excited to be coming here. They're so excited about the facilities we have. You can show, they first thing they wanted to do when they got here was to see that facility, see our dorms. So it was pretty cool.
Brad, obviously with the 2 incoming freshmen, we got a lot of returners. Like you mentioned last year, no seniors on the roster, which is a really good thing. But, some returners, Ben Trosted, Connor Humble, guys you're really excited about. But just touch on the returners that you have coming back next year to hopefully make a run, and, we can maybe repeat the NSIC conference championship. But knock on wood there. But just kind of touch on the returners a little bit that you have coming back.
Yeah, that's our goal is to get better. And Connor and Ben have done that each year. Connor with his 76 scoring average was good. Every year he's gotten better. And then Ben has improved the 2 years he's been here. They both work extremely hard in their game. Those are the 2 guys that that were the leftovers from the year before when my first year. Better. Brian Beckla and Connor Humble both played in the it was a collegiate event put on at Geneva in Alexandria, which was I commend Brady Swedberg for putting that on for the college kids, because they got together, they got to play some golf, they got to play some competitive golf. I think Brian finished in a tie for 7th or 8th in there. It was a very tough day. Winds were blowing 30, the greens were slick. So Connor shot, I think, 81, but that still was in the top, 12, 13 guys in that field, and they're playing with all the Jackrabbits from South Dakota State and NDSU players, and so they're putting themselves out there, and that's what we have to do as a program is play golf in the summertime. That's where we're going to get better. That's where we're, and it's not just hitting golf balls on the range. It's not just hitting golf balls in the performance center. It's getting yourself out there on that first tee, getting those nerves going and playing. I know Keegan is going to play in the MGA qualifier here if he hasn't played it already. Connor's playing some of that stuff. We got some other guy. Brian's playing. He played in our top 5. Dylan Sanis. Those guys are working their tails off, hopefully to keep their spots, because we got young guys coming in that want those spots, and they're, if you want to play on our team now, you got to be able to play. So I feel we've got 10 guys on the roster and they can all play. We'll see what happens.
Brad, you touched on Ben and Dylan Sanis. Just kind of, what does that local angle mean for you to kind of have local kids, being in that top 5, for majority of the year? But what is that like for you, to have those local connections, with Crookston, with Ben, and then with Dylan? What's that like for you?
Yeah, I think that's fun for our recruits too, to see that we got kids from our hometown, or Fertile and Crookston, and they, if they have questions about anything, they can talk to those guys. My first thing when I recruit a kid is I want you to do your research on Northwest Minnesota. I mean, it's not for everybody. So I want you to do your research, see what the climate's like. I've talked to some foreign kids. I thought I had a kid from Greece. He got his military papers last couple weeks ago. He was going through the NCAA clearinghouse. He was ready to commit, and then he called me. He was really disappointed about that. But he's got to do what he's got to do. But yeah, that's my first thing. We got to know what Northwest Minnesota is like. You got to know what you're dealing with weather-wise, and I think those local guys can give you that. They have open access to those guys if they want to call them and talk to them about what we have going on here.
Only for the strong-willed Northwest Minnesota, that's for sure.
That's right.
That's right. Had a great connection to, for the men's golf program. There's been a lot of Crookston natives. Obviously, your son Seth came through the program, and quite a few other guys come to mind. Zach Cymbaluk, Matt Yorgo. I mean, the list goes on back.
Right.
Quite a few.
I think it's good to be able to bring some of those guys into our program. It helps, brings, excitement for the local, people to be able to come and or to hear about those guys that are still playing golf here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Jake Sanders was a good player here. So.
We've touched on it a few times a little bit, but just with the Golf Performance Center, just how big is that for you guys? Not from just growth in the guys' golf game, but just from a recruiting standpoint too. Obviously, I'm guessing that played a big role in, Bodie and Josh really the allure of coming here and being able to say, we've got one of the nicest facilities in the NSIC that you can use year round. I'm sure that's been a huge thing for you guys.
Well, I was talking to Brian Becklow yesterday. I was at the golf course and I was talking to him, and he's just can't wait to get back in there. Yep. Because you get your numbers, you know what your swing speeds are, your ball speeds, your spin rates, and everything else. And I tell you what, if anybody got better for using that facility, it was Brian Becklow. He went from hitting the ball 250 to hitting it, 280 to 300 off the tee. Just because he was in there all the time. I mean, the kids slept in there. So it's huge. It's big for recruiting. Josh and Bodie, when they came, you see the eyes just light up. It's like we can get better here. I didn't have a lot of guys visit this year because I knew I didn't need a lot of guys. I think I had three guys this year that came to visit, and I lost one of them. And I know that kid's going to Concordia St. Paul. But, I mean, that's who we didn't have a chance to get those kids before. And now we have a chance to get them. I know, these guys visited other places and they liked what they saw here just because they get a chance all winter long to hit golf balls. And then next year, for 2021 fall, I've got, I've been talking to some kids and I don't need many there either. I'll need maybe two, 3 if I can. but what my hope is to get guys, a group of 8, 9, 10 guys that can push each other, and they can push each other in the simulator. We before we went on our spring trip, we had tournaments going on. We had guys playing best balls. We had guys playing scrambles. We had guys playing a match play tournament against each other. So we set up so they're competing against each other. So they, and that's what that facility does for us.
And I know, Brad, that's kind of the reason why we built it is if we build it, you better use it, right? Like, you said Brian kind of sleeps in it. Well, that's a good thing, right? We want kids to be in there. And I know a lot of times during basketball games, I'd walk by the facility at 10 o'clock at night, 10:30 at night, there'd be 2 or 3 kids using it, which is exactly what you want, right?
Absolutely. That's what it's there for. They better be using it because, like I said, if you're not using it, somebody else is, and they're getting better.
Yep, exactly.
So Brad, you can have a guy like Brian Beckelo that you mentioned quite a bit, just a kid that, older kid, comes in, like you said, and only hitting at 250, and that he can grow to, he was more than likely going to be a staple in your top 5 through the spring as well, just because of how hard he worked. And, obviously there wasn't a huge expectation coming in kind of as a just kind of almost as a walk-on, just,
right.
And to see that a kid can grow like that I'm sure that's huge for the guys to see that, a guy like Brian can do that.
Yeah. I consider Brian one of our leaders now with Connor and Ben, because, who knows where Brian's game's going to go, but, if he keeps getting better, he fired a 74 personal best in Arizona. That was unheard of in the fall for him, so it's good stuff. So, right now, who knows what's going to happen this fall, but he'll be battling. I know that, along with the other guys.
Brad, just last question before we wrap up here. We've touched on multiple times just how much growth the men's golf program is going through, and I think Connor Humble kind of cemented that when he was named to the Cleveland Golf All-America Scholar Athlete, joining your son. Actually, some pretty good company there, joining Seth. But just how big of an honor is it for not only for Connor but also for the golf program?
I think it's absolutely. Give him all the credit in the world, because that kid works his tail off too. Mm-hmm. If you get, I don't know if it, excuse me, I don't know if anybody knows this, but Connor's in that sim room at 6 a.m. every morning.
Yeah,
he's there. He's working his tail off so he can get his work done there, so he can go to class and get his work done there. He takes everything serious. Sorry. He's a student athlete. The kid, I'm so proud of him. I'm proud of Seth, and for the accomplishments he had. We're going to get those plaques put up in that room so kids can see that we're student athletes first. We get it done in the classroom, and we can get it done in the golf course.
And he's just no pun intended, but he's just a humble kid too. You walk by him, and he doesn't have a big head or nothing. He's always in there working, and his last name fits him pretty well because he is a humble kid. And I think that's what you've done a good job with, Brad, is recruiting those kids, and it just shows what type of growth the golf program's going through.
Absolutely.
And great family too. Obviously, Ashley, his sister, played women's golf here, and that was a big reason that he ended up here in the first place. And so just got to give Ashley a shout out too. Just he was a solid player for the women's golf team as well, and just very solid family. And I think they were both very good in the classroom as well.
Right. I wish there were some more humbles coming. So they've been good for our program, that's for sure. It was fun because Ashley was out in Arizona when we played out there, so I got to have a good talk with her there too. So yeah, his mom and his sister, they both follow him pretty well. They make sure they call me and ask when we're going, where we're going, and and so it's fun to see that the family's following and play golf.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Brad, thanks for joining us over Zoom today. It's been good to catch up, and we're really excited to see what you guys can do in the fall. I'm sure the guys, like you said, are putting in a lot of work on golf courses across the, Minnesota and wherever right now, and really excited to see what's in store for the team in 2020, 2021.
Thank you. Yeah, our average, I think we averaged 314 last year. We're going to have to be around 300 to be competing, and I think we've got the guys here that are going to do that. So, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're really excited. Look forward to what's in store for all of our sports starting here in September. But thanks for all those that will watch this once we post it. But go Golden Eagles, wings up.